get healthier by buying different foods and making different shopping choices. The scope of this video has to do with choosing different ways to shop so that you can get healthier. It does not take into consideration cost. So at a later date, I will talk about buying healthy foods more on a budget. This particular video is not going to address cost. It's going to address the ideal way of eating, but we all know that we don't always live in a perfect world. So that's why I'll address that other topic at a different time. So I'm Becky Longacre. I'm your Nurse Gone health coach, and I own and operate Health Transformers, which is a health coaching business located in Auburn, Maine, and I offer exclusive one-on-one health coaching. I'm going to be offering in person as well as online. I'm going to be offering group coaching in the fall, and I'm starting an online course actually that takes people virtually through the health coaching program. I do videos, I talk to you just like this, and I give you assignments to sort of help you through losing weight and healing pain. Those are the two topics that I cover for people. So if you want to learn more about that, check out my website. It's in the description below, www.healthtransformersmaine.com. You can also follow me on Facebook or subscribe to my YouTube channel. So the topic for today has to do with making different shopping choices when you're buying food to help your health and well-being. So the first topic, or the first tip that I have, I think it's 7 tips that I have. The first tip is to buy local, and the reason for that is when you buy local, there's less distance in transportation having to do with your food. So food over time, as with anything, loses its freshness, which means to say that food loses its nutrient density the longer it sits. So when you're transporting something from Alaska, say, it's going through a long distance and it's losing its nutrient density. If you pick a strawberry fresh off the plant, that is going to have the highest nutrient density than if the strawberry sits on the counter or in your fridge for a week. So buying local is going to increase your nutrient density of foods. Tip number 2 is buy homemade foods or make homemade foods. The reason for that being, when you make homemade foods, it is less likely that you're going to have a whole lot of additives and non-nutritive substances in your food. So it's more likely that you're going to have more actual substances that we perceive as food that our body can actually metabolize if you buy homemade foods or if you make homemade foods. Tip number 3 is buy foods that have a shorter ingredient list. So generally speaking, if your bread has less than 10 ingredients in it, it's going to be healthier than bread that has 15 or 20 ingredients in it. The reason being is because if the longer the ingredient list means that it is more likely that it's going to have all those non-nutrient food additives in it, which is they cannot be metabolized by your body. They're not recognized as food. And they don't have any sort of vitamins or minerals in them. So the longer the ingredient list, generally speaking, the less nutrient dense it's going to be, the less it has to offer in terms of nutrition. Tip number 4 is buy all natural foods, or if you live in a perfect world, buy organic foods. The definition of organic is the ingredient comes from a plant, an animal, or some sort of organism like a probiotic. The definition of organic also means that it doesn't use artificial fertilizers or artificial pesticides. So organic foods are associated with less cancer, for example, because you don't have the exposure from the pesticides when you consume these sorts of foods. So buy organic. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5, skip the page. I guess I went to tip number 6. Eat grass-fed meat, and the reason for that is because when your beef consumes grass instead of corn, it's associated with more anti-inflammatory properties. So when our cows are fed corn-based meal, corn has more inflammatory effect on our body. Grass has more anti-inflammatory effect on our body. So that's the reason for that. Eat grass-fed meat is the next tip. The next tip is buying free-range eggs. Because free range means that the chickens have been able to actually go outside. So they're not caged, and more than that, they've been able to stretch their legs, get out into the sunshine, as most organisms need. Most organisms on planet Earth need sunshine, including us. And so it's a feel-good thing. So some of your buying habits are going to have to do with how it affects your spirit subconsciously. And so buying free-range eggs helps your spirit. It's a feel-good experience. I could also make the argument that it is probably likely that there is less cortisol in free-range eggs, but I don't know that for a fact, so I'm not going to claim that as a fact. But I do know that chickens that are housed in cages have a higher stress level, have a higher cortisol level, which is your long-standing stress hormone, which again is brought back to inflammation in your body. So tip number 8, I have another one. Buy 50% of your items as plants. So when you buy more plants and less processed foods, you're shortening your ingredients list. You're buying fresher because plants will decompose faster than, say, a Twinkie. So you're buying higher dense, nutrient-dense foods. Plants also have, in general, they have a lower caloric density than, say, a Twinkie. And so buying more plants is going to help you lose weight. Buying more plants, most plants do have an anti-inflammatory effect unless it's corn or sugar. And that is going to help reduce your pain in your body. Buying more plants also is largely associated with a decreased risk in cancer. So that's what I got for you today. It was going to be a live chat, but I lost internet connection, and I was going to do something really cool by talking to a local produce market, but it just didn't work out for today. So instead, I am doing a video, and I'm posting the video. So enjoy, and I'll talk to you next time. Subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Facebook. Ask questions in the comments. I'll see you next time.